Alright, so we are going to be going over how to decorate your orbiter today, along with some orbiter basics. To begin, in order to access just about any customization for your orbiter, you need to hit Escape, go to Equipment, Orbiter, and then you will have your options there. Before we get into decorating, we're going to talk about orbiter appearance and the landing craft selection. If you go into orbiter appearance, you can see that you can color the inside however you would like. Coloring for the inside of your orbiter and the outside as well is determined by color palettes that you own. These can be purchased on the market at just about any time. You can also determine the amount of wear that the inside reflects and color the wear that shows as well. And then you can also choose themes. These are often limited time and only pop up during certain times of year. They are often on the market for one singular credit during the associated time frame. Next is the landing craft selection. You're able to color it with the color palettes that you've had before. You can also choose the landing craft that you want to use from here. It does not reflect any changes internally. It is only visible on loading screens or to your allies. And now we'll get into decoration. When you enter decoration mode, you are in what is called free placement mode. You can press 1 to pull up a list of decorations. You can hover over and decorations will show their capacity. Some cost 5, some cost 100, and some cost in between. Every room has 1600 decoration capacity, so be aware of that when you're decorating. While in free placement, as the name would suggest, you can place decorations just about anywhere, but there are some specific places that you cannot that are referred to as red zones. It literally doesn't matter what you manage to do, you're not going to be able to place anything in those areas. Red zones in the orbiter are quite limited compared to the dojo, but they still get just as annoying and just as in the way in some scenarios. To place a decoration that you have selected, simply left click. To remove it, right click, and you'll be prompted to ask if you are sure. Just simply click that and it'll go away. A modifier to free placement is what is referred to as grid snap. You can just hit shift and you will see on my screen it changes from 1/10 of a meter to 1/4 meter, and if the object is big enough it will change to a full meter. If an object is too small it will be limited to the 1/10 meter option, or if it's just kind of in between it will only have the 1/10 and 1/4 meter options. Another placement modifier is called surface snap, and that is activated and toggled by pressing F. As soon as it is on, you can push a decoration against a surface and it will snap its orientation to match. While in free placement or grid snap for that matter, you can also use push and pull to simply move a decoration away or closer to your camera. This is achieved by holding X and moving your mouse away from you or closer to you, respectively. And then there is billboard facing, and this is just as useless as it is in the dojo in the orbiter, if not more so. You hit Z, and then it forces the object to orient itself towards the camera rather than respective to the room. A key modifier is rotation. This is achieved by holding right click and then dragging your mouse to the left or to the right. You can change the axis of rotation relative to the object by pressing Z. You can toggle through those 3 there. You can undo all rotations done to an object while right click is held by holding X, and it will return to its default position. A nifty thing that they added with this was rotation snap. This can only be modified or toggled while right click is held on an object, but you can change to 15 or 45 degree rotations. Keep in mind, if you leave grid or rotation snap on after you place an object, it will still be on when you go to place the next object. After you have placed an object, you have the option to duplicate it in the orientation that it is placed. This is only possible if you actually have more of that decoration, unlike the dojo. In this case, I didn't have more, so I was prompted to buy another. And then we'll talk about constrained movement, which is the tool that separates the people that are relatively good at decorating from the people that have no clue what they're doing. Constrained movement is entered by pressing R on an object that has already been placed. As soon as you do, you will see axes appear on the object's anchor point. An anchor point is different per object, by the way, and these axes will be relative to the orientation of the room. Pressing the corresponding keys you see on the decoration menu on the bottom will help you move the object by dragging your mouse in the corresponding directions. And that is what is referred to as world movement. You can change to local constrained movement by pressing Z, and that will change the orientation of the axes to be relative to the object itself instead of the room, and you can move it in different directions there. However, there are some incredibly nifty applications for this that that include clipping, for example, and I'll show that here. I will not touch on that in this video. If you want to learn more about that, I recommend you watch the clipping video I have regarding dojos, because the concepts are the exact same. Reset room is achieved by aiming at nothing and then pressing R. You will be prompted to type reset room to be extra sure that you don't want to heat everything there, and then it will remove every object you have placed in the corresponding room that your Warframe is standing in. However, as you'll notice here, what I had up in the cockpit is gone. And the reason for that is from here, clear down to here, is all one singular room sharing the 1600 capacity. The operator transference room is a singular room, just as you would expect, along with the personal quarters and the helmet room over there as well. Those are all singular rooms, but the cockpit, for some batshit crazy reason, is shared with the entire chassis of the orbiter. Lastly, we will go over the personal quarters customization, because that is pretty much the only room that is customizable outside of decorations. If you head over here, you can hit X and you can edit the loadout display. You can select any given loadout that you have set up in your arsenal, and it will adopt the Warframe coloring scheme, weapon, holster style, all the above on display. Keep in mind, sometimes you will see this thing spinning like a mofo. That is completely normal, and they are not fixing that ever. If you head over to this console and hit X, you can get to the quarters customization. The first option is the stencil. These are obtained on the market through plat or through syndicates, buying them for standing. These don't often do a whole lot to the room, although they are changed by your coloring scheme. I don't really like them a whole lot, and I'm not sure who does. Next is the vignette. It is essentially a little diorama for you to put decorations and have a good time. You can also alternate it to be a fish tank instead. You'll notice down below there is a little option to alternate between the side tank and the main tank. The main tank is the vignette. The side tank is the tank that is next to the loadout display. You can add fish literally just by clicking add fish. Unfortunately, there isn't like a select all kind of option, and there isn't a remove all option either. Maybe in the future. That's kind of a very minimal request though. Alright, I think that is it for the basics video. I do encourage everyone watching this to look at the dojo clipping video, since it applies directly to the orbiter as well, and is kind of a key part of decorating. If you want to see how to get to planetary skyboxes, I encourage you to check out this other video as well. If you have topics you would like me to cover for the orbiter going forward, please comment down below or join the Discord linked in the description and comment there instead. Other than that, I will catch you guys later.